Welcome to the first episode of Disability Inclusion Begins With Us. I am your host, Nzilani Martin, and in studio today we have a guest. Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Brenda Betty Kiema, Disability Inclusion Officer at Tangaza University College. The role of a Disability Inclusion Officer, especially where I'm working, is to be almost like a mediator between the leadership, the faculty members, the students, and to make sure that the learning is taking place and there's continuity of learning, whereby persons with disability, they are not being deprived any opportunity.
When did you first become a Disability Inclusion Officer in Tangaza?
That was in 2019, January. It's when I was given a contract to become a Disability Inclusion Officer.
How has the journey been like?
Well, this journey started in the year 2015 when I was enrolled in master's class. And the journey began with my personal experience because I was a student right here at Tangaza University College, where I'm also the Disability Inclusion Officer. There were so many challenges, especially accessing the buildings, accessing classrooms, and most of the time you could find that the lift is not working, going to the cafeteria, the attitude of the lecturers once in a while. You could see a little bit of discrimination because you're different. Myself, I'm a person with disability, physically challenged, and so I walk slowly. And what really happened was I decided to do my assignments in line with inclusion. And the first assignment, which really moved the lecturer or my supervisor then, it's when I drew a problem tree demonstrating the causes, the consequences, and how Tangaza is. Then he developed a lot of interest in it, and he kept on encouraging me to continue in that line. So when we were having like student presentation, I would do a lot of presentation in line with disability inclusion. In fact, I remember one time in class, I was telling the students, I'm different from all of you, and that's why when we are switching classes, you run and you forget that I am around. So that's how the journey started. And the interesting thing, the classes were evening classes. So there was the issue of public service vehicles. When we leave the classroom, people are walking very fast. By the time I get to the stage, majority are gone, or maybe the last bus has passed. So I start struggling on how to get home. So it was a whole mix of quite a number of things. And I felt it is the high time persons with disability be included in the higher learning institution, being in an environment which is conducive, where they belong and their self-esteem is not affected. So that's how the whole journey started.
Now, you said that when you started, there were a little bit of hitches here and there with the lectures. Could you tell us what about the lectures was affecting you?
Well, you see, in the world of disability, there's a lot of prejudices, a lot of lack of knowledge, because for me, I was thinking once in a while, when you hear someone is speaking to you in a manner that you feel he's demeaning, then you link it to your condition. Then when you start following it up, you will confirm he said that because you are a person with disability. But for me, I wanted to change the narrative that persons with disability cannot do anything, they cannot be anything. So I decided to work very hard. I decided to be one of the best performers in class. And immediately we did the first exam. That narrative changed. And they knew it is very possible for a person with disability to scale the heights.
Yeah.
So it all started from me to make sure that we have changed the classroom environment when it comes to communication, when it comes to interaction. Even the students, sometimes they feel if you belong to their group, it's like you will not contribute anything of value to earn the marks. So you'll find, even apart from how the lecturers are looking at you, even the students themselves, they're not even accommodating you. So I could see that gap clearly, and I knew this is something that needs to be addressed.
Also, when you were talking about your journey, you said about changing the environment. What would you say is your experience while changing this environment through your journey?
Yes, now, from all what I have said, we had now to come up with a concept. When I say we, I mean those who had bought the idea that there's a problem. And one of them was Professor Francesco Pielli, and there was also Reginald Nalugala. They really got the concept very well. And the first thing that we did something called SWOT analysis to understand who is for, who is against, who should be brought close, who should we ignore. You know, in the journey, you have to choose the people to work with. And as I said, we didn't have ramps. It was a whole lot of problem. Let me share one of my experience because of lack of the ramps. I came from home, it was raining heavily, and in front of Imani building, I got stuck because there were stairs. And what was looking like a ramp, it was very slopey, and I believed it is what they were using to push the books or their trolleys and anything. So someone came and I requested him to hold my hand. He refused. And it was raining heavily. So I had to walk back to the cafeteria to strategize on how I'll get to the building. So when I was walking back in the rain, I met one of our administrators of that time. He asked me, Brenda, why are you going back? You're supposed to be in the office. Then I told him I can't go through those stairs. I need someone to hold my hand. So he said, let's go, let's go. So he did it. And then I came up with a concept, how it should be done. But of course, with the support of partly some leaders, of course the lecturers, some of them were in leadership. And I wrote something about different, therefore unequal. And I started looking for an opportunity to present it to the right people in the right forum. Now, before we used to celebrate what we call Tangaza Day. I knew that's the entry point. I went to the DPSL, this was the Deputy Principal Student Life that time, and he said, Brenda, the program is full. I looked at the program, for sure it was full. There was no space for any intro or bringing out something new. But I looked at the slot of the principal. He had 25 minutes. I needed 5 minutes, 5 only. So I booked an appointment, I went to his office, and I told him, I need you to give me 5 minutes. Then he's like, Brenda, why do you need 5 minutes? I explained to him. Now, I gave him my concept. This is where we are at Tangaza. We are supposed to be here, but for us to move, then there has to be the support of leadership, and a lot needs to be done, especially on the physical environment. And it was called different, therefore unequal. I was given an opportunity, and that was a prime hour when the Board of Trustees, the Governing Council, student fraternity, all the staff of Tangaza, they were seated in the hall. I gave my speech and I explained briefly why different, therefore unequal. I used the podium where I was standing, but I had to come up through these stairs. This place is not accessible. All the buildings are not accessible. Cafeteria is not accessible. Our washrooms is a struggle. I just listed everything and I handed over the report to the principal.
Thank you, our dear viewer, for coming with us this far, but due to the interest of time, join us on our next episode to know what happened after Brenda subjected the proposal. Thank you, Brenda, for joining us in studio today, and thank you for the big information you've given to us.
Thank you very much.